So I don't share this story often. I might have shared it with you before, but if you'll give me grace and just listen again. But I want to tell you the story of 7th grade. Now, if you can imagine, 7th grade for most of us was a fun time. For me, no different. It was a fun time. My family had attended a church. It was a large church before 7th grade. And for some reason, my mom decided that it was time to try out a new church, which, what a great time, but 7th grade, to try something new for the family. And so we went from a very large church where I just sort of went to the programs. Nobody really knew who I was, and that was okay with me. I could slip in and out. And we went to a small church about 30 minutes away from home. I have no clue how she found it. But I grew up in Austin proper, and this was in Cedar Park, if you're familiar. And so it was a little small Southern Baptist church in Cedar Park, Texas. And we walk in, and I, again, want to just blend in like I did at my last church, but it was a much smaller church. And a group of also 7th graders in their prime came up to me, and they were like, "Hey, come sit with us." And I was like, "No." But I did. Probably my mom pushed me, but I went and sat with them in the youth section, which I found out was the section where you could pass notes. And so that was the right section that I needed to be in. And then after the service was over, one of the louder ones came up to me. Their name was Aslan, and they said, "Hey, we've got something going on next weekend. It's called Disciple Now, D Now, and we want you to come." Well, the following weekend was my birthday weekend, and I was like, I don't think I want to spend my birthday with you guys. So I said, "Ooh, it's my birthday, probably not." I look over at my mom, and my mom's just like, so I was like, I guess I'll see you there. Great. And so I showed up the next weekend at D Now, which is not something that we normally do in the Methodist church, but it was a lot like midwinter, just at people's houses. And so I show up the next weekend to my host home, and that Saturday, I guess they found out it was my birthday, and so that Saturday I woke up on what was my birthday in the host home, and they had streamers and cake, and they dressed me up like a present and put bows on my head, and they sang me happy birthday. And you know, for the first time, I felt like I was wanted by a group of people who did not know me at all. They didn't know what I had to offer. They didn't know if I was cool or not, which I was not, so that was good. But they really celebrated me that day. We ended up joining that church, and that is where I heard a call to ministry with that group of people. Asher is still one of my very best friends to this day. Our text today comes from John's Gospel, and I want you to hear a very similar account of invitation in our text today. If you have your Bibles, if you'll open up to John chapter 1. If you don't, just follow along right here on the screens. We've got it for you. Starting in verse 40. One of the two who heard John speak and followed him was Andrew, Simon Peter's brother. He first found his brother Simon and said to him, "We have found the Messiah," which is translated the Anointed One. He brought Simon to Jesus, who looked at him and said, "You are Simon, son of John. You are to be called Cephas," which is translated Peter. The next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, "Follow me." Now Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found him about whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote, Jesus, son of Joseph from Nazareth." Nathanael said to him, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Philip said to him, "Come and see." This is the good word, the good news for the people of God. Thanks be to God. We hear these very familiar words in the text today, come and see. I love this response to Nathanael's doubt. I mean, let's just take and break down what Nathanael's saying here. Can anything good come from Nazareth? If you don't know the story, Nazareth is the other side of the tracks. Nazareth is this place where nothing good comes out of Nazareth. You don't want to associate with the Nazarenes, right? And so he's being very frank. What do you mean that the person we've been longing for, the person that we are hoping comes into the world, the Messiah that our hearts have longed for, is from where now? Where you've been, yes. They're from Israel and so have been all over. Yes. Oh, from Bethesda. Okay, I did not know that. Very good. Yes, we did. Rasha comes from. Very good. And so the story goes, right? That what good could come from Nazareth? And I love the answer that Philip gives. He doesn't stop in that moment and say, well, here's all the qualifications. Here's everything he's done so far. Here's how the text aligns, right? Here's how the scrolls have promised. Here's all the proof you could need. Instead, he just says, we'll come and see. If you were here last week, you heard these same words. And that when the very first disciples encounter Jesus, when John the Baptist points them over and says, that's the Messiah that you've been longing for, the disciples of John the Baptist go up to him and they ask just the most profound question I've ever heard of people who have encountered Jesus. And they say, well, where are you staying? And Jesus says, come and see. I love the words of invitation. Come and see. I think for too long we've confused what evangelism looks like. We've created these really intricate programs of what it means to go out into our communities and to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. We've gone out and we've said, okay, now go to your neighbor's house. Don't be weird. Go to your neighbor's house, invite them over to supper maybe, set up a place of breaking bread, and then gently ask them about their lives and find out where the connection of need might be that you might invite them to church. But I wonder if we leaned more into the curiosity of why we are here. When was the last time you stopped and just took a moment and asked yourself, why do I wake up every Sunday morning to come and be a part of this body of faith? What draws me? What fills me? What is my purpose in belonging to a church like Vista Ridge? And then what would it be to take that fulfillment of how God is moving in your life and through this community, and when you go out to your neighbors and coworkers and schoolmates, that's a weird word of saying that, your friends at school. Sorry, the youth on the back row are like, but go out, and when they say, I just don't feel like I belong. I feel like something's missing. I'm scared, or I'm anxious, and right now in our world, I'm upset. I'm angry. I have this place that I belong. It's this group of people that talks about the tough stuff. When we lose friends, we come together and grieve together. We don't do life alone. You should come and see. That seems to be the invitation of Jesus throughout Scripture. This won't be the very first time that on their journey they invite people to come and see. And I believe it's the only thing that has ever worked. Now here's the problem that comes. If you go to a church that you don't think your neighbors need anything from. Now I know that that's not our church. But I think that's where we got really intricate with our invitation programs, when we were told to invite people in these programs to make our churches larger and larger and larger. For some reason, I don't know, if it doesn't mean anything in the lives of us. and our neighbors. But we have this beautiful gift of this church of belonging, that we live life together. Last year, our vision for Vista Ridge was to widen the welcome. And truly, that was, I feel like, a low bar for this church, because y'all are so welcoming, so hospitable, so invitational. And truly, you did widen the welcome. We had 27 people join in membership last year to our church. Yeah, amen. Throughout this year, the SLC leadership continued to meet and to talk about how God is calling us to continue to widen the welcome in 2026. And we redefined one of the ways that we feel like absolutely when people come to this place, they are going to know that they are welcomed and that we want them to live life with us and among us. But we also knew that we live in a community that when we had our last Fall Fest, we had folks come in. We had to move it inside because it was rainy and windy. And when we moved it inside, we had folks come through the doors and go, I didn't know this was a church. I was like, oh, what did you think it was? But that was good information for us, right? It meant that we have an opportunity to help tell the good news of who we are as a church. And so this past year, we adopted a new vision statement and welcoming statement that we're going to be putting on our website and in publication that we send out to our neighborhood. And so I want to read it for you this morning. But before I do, I want to just honor this moment. For the last 3 years, James Kunke served as our lay leader, which is, if you're not familiar, we've got the clergy, which would be the category that I would fit into as an ordained person sent to be a part of this church on behalf of the conference and bishop and the clergy. But then you are the laity. You are the people who are not set apart by ordination, but you are still called upon as believers to be a part of the mission and ministry of the church as the laity. And James Kunke was elected 3 years ago to serve as your leader, the spiritual leader of this church. He had just signed on in November to do it for another 3 years. And we elected him to it because, my goodness, have we not benefited from his spiritual leadership over the last 3 years. And I recognize that that did not happen. We lost him on December 23rd, and that is a grave loss for us. So when you hear these words, I want to just honor the fact that many of them are because of his spiritual leadership to us and the vision that he cast of who we were becoming as a church. And so I just honor that as we read these words and recognize and see that and want to give him thanks for who he has called us to be as a church. Let me read our new vision statement as Vista Ridge. At Vista Ridge UMC, we are seeking to live and love like Jesus. We believe in belonging before belief, questions before certainty, and love before labels. So if you've ever felt in between places, beliefs, or communities, you will find home here. This is Vista Ridge, where love makes all the difference. That is our new vision statement, and then I want to read through our new welcoming statement. This, again, is what we are hoping that our neighbors hear as they know this community. You belong here. We extend a special welcome to the certain and the searching, the hopeful and the heartbroken, to those who grew up in church and to those who swore they would never walk into one again, to those who sing loud and to those who do not sing at all. We welcome those who come with friends, with family, or just as they are. We welcome the unhoused and the overhoused, the overworked and the overlooked. We welcome the queer and the straight, the ones still learning to love themselves as God already does. We welcome those who have found faith, lost faith, borrowed faith, or are still wondering what faith even is. You belong if you wear your Sunday best or your Sunday blues. You belong if you carry more questions than answers. You belong if you're just trying to believe that love still matters. Here at Vista Ridge, we believe it does. Because God's love doesn't draw lines, it draws us together. Amen. That is a statement that was deeply and carefully written with the leadership of James and with all of the leadership of the SLC. I truly have confidence that as we continue to become the church that God is calling us to be, that there are people in our community and in our world that need to know there's a place to belong. I want to tell you just a little story that happened just yesterday. At James's service, I opened with a statement that you did not have to have any right beliefs to be present, that your belonging was that you were a friend of James, and if you were a friend of James, you were a friend of ours. Amen? And in that statement, we went on to tell great stories of the man that James was and the life that he led. I had a woman come up to me, darted for me at the back door. She came straight up and she said, I haven't been inside of a church in a really long time. I was pretty nervous about coming to this funeral, but James meant a lot to me, and so I knew I wanted to be here today. But I've never had somebody intentionally tell me that I belonged. And I thank you for that. Through the last hour, I heard that God loves me. And that's the first time I've ever heard that before. Vista Ridge, there are people in our community that have not heard that God loves them. That is our vision. That is our mission. That is why we are here. So if you woke up this morning and came because it just happens to be on your phone and that you just come here routinely every single Sunday, I'm so glad you're here. But I want you to join your heart and your intention to the mission of making sure that there's nobody in our community that has a doubt that they belong to the family of God. I'm pretty sure it would make a difference in our world. I'm pretty sure with all the things that break our hearts that we hear that are in our news feed each and every week, if every single person knew and believed that they belong to God and to one another, we would live a different world. And truly, this book says it is the kingdom of heaven, and that it is coming on earth as it is in heaven. Amen? Amen. Let us pray. God, we are so grateful for your message of belonging. We're grateful, God, that the stories were captured in the Gospels of how you invited people to come and see. You invited the curious. You did not have to say that we needed to be certain to come and belong with you. God, my hope is that as a church, that we would continue to invite people to come and be curious with us. God, we are searching for you. We are continuing to search out your heart for who you are calling us to be and become. God, we are deepening our own faith as we invite those to come and belong and do life with us. God, I'm so grateful for this church. I'm grateful for, in the last month, the way this church has surrounded the brokenhearted. Through meals, through cards, through calls, through late night text messages. God, through the presence at the 2 services that we've had this week. God, I thank you for a church that doesn't just say, we love you, we're praying for you, but truly gets down on our knees praying for one another, that reaches out in tangible ways of love. Thank you for what that looks like here. And God, may we extend that to our neighbors and community in need. Take us to wherever the brokenhearted is, and may we show up as the light of your Son, Jesus. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we pray. Amen.